feel bad for that kid because the person's like eat some more stuff.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Okay, so what is the title of our story? By? By who? Hughes, very good. So, thank you, ma'am, by Langston Hughes. You can also find that up here.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Why is this not good?
All right, what is setting? Not the setting of our story, not the setting of thank you, ma'am, but what is a setting? Good. A place that the story takes place?
A forest.
What?
A forest.
Say that one more time.
A forest.
Okay, so a story could take place in a forest. That would be the setting. Time, place, maybe the year, right? So, where is the setting of our story here?
The man's house.
Okay, it does move to the lady's house. Where does the story start? Yeah, on the sidewalk in a city. Morning, noon, night, middle of the afternoon.
Night.
Yeah, late at night.
I mean, if I were her, I wouldn't be walking late at night.
Late at night in a city called Harlem. Oh, Shane, welcome back. And this was actually written in the 1950s. Next time you want to get out of doing work, I would think twice before spending 8.5 minutes out of my classroom. All right, complications. What's our problem here? What's our problem in the story? Okay, who's the kid? What's his name? Look in your story. What's the kid's name? Look in your story. What's his name? Nope. Look in your story. Stop guessing. Roger. Is he successful at his thievery? No. He is a bad thief. Okay, so he fails at stealing a purse. Then what happens? Does he just like run away and forget this old lady?
No, and he falls in on the side.
He gets stuck with her, right?
He falls down on the side.
So Roger fails at stealing a purse and can't get away from Mrs. Jones. He just wants out of the situation. He's said it a couple of times, like, I just want to turn me loose. I'm sorry. I want out of here.
If you look at the pictures of the city, the man looks happy, but he looks pretty weird.
Well, it's just a drawing, so.
And the kid looks dead. The kid has a big nose. Yeah, and a big foot. And a bad hairline.
Okay, we're done.
one of these injustices like underneath the protagonist.
Protagonist.
Yeah, I'm so bad at pronouncing words. It's actually wrong name here.
Yeah, main character. So our protagonist, you'll need to write these down because you might want to study them for the future. So our protagonist is the main character, and the antagonist is the person or thing that challenges or changes the protagonist. So sometimes you could see this as like the bad guy, but there isn't really a bad guy in our story. There's not like good versus evil in our story. But is he really a bad kid?
Yeah.
You think so? Does he try to run away from Mrs. Jones at the end of the story and steal her purse when he had the opportunity?
No.
No. Okay, he wanted to at the beginning. But ma'am changed him. So who would our antagonist be? Mrs. Jones, very good. And yes, Roger would be our protagonist here. Okay, so now that we know our complication, we know our protagonist and our antagonist, let's jump up to the plot. So our plot is essentially a one-sentence summary that you would share with somebody else who had no idea what Thank You Ma'am was about. Like, oh, Mrs. Crisp, we read a story that was set in the 1950s, and because you teach social studies, I'm going to tell you about it. Blah is what happened. Okay, how would you summarize it in one sentence?
Roger got beat up by an old lady.
Okay, is that the whole story though?
Roger tried to steal a purse, and then the lady pitched Roger up.
Good. Good. So we're not going to get too specific and use names. So we're going to say a teenage boy.
Wait, you could just say a kid.
But we need to know specifically what age he is. Not specifically. We need to know around about what age he is. So a teenage boy tries and fails to steal a purse and finds himself sharing a meal with a stubborn but compassionate older lady. Oops.
Was a stubborn but compassionate man. Don't be acting.
Skylar. So a teenage boy tries and fails to steal a purse and finds himself sharing a meal with a stubborn but compassionate older lady. She didn't let him go. She made him do a lot of things like wash his face, clean himself up. She basically forced him to walk to her house by the neck, right? She was not having it.
I don't even know what stubborn means.
Stubborn, it means you're going to get your way regardless, and you're going to fight people to get your way.
The definition of stubborn is like
Okay. When you're finished, flip this over. Nope, there's not a flip over. It's just that next indirect characterization page, right? Compassionate. Compassionate.
lady, LAY.
Are we done? Let me know when you're ready, Henley. Okay, cool. We're going to practice our indirect characterization. So we did this on, let's see, what's today? Friday. We did this on Wednesday with our goat and fox story. Do you remember that? We took little blurbs from that story and decided what their personalities were like based on their thoughts, choices, words, actions, feelings. So, indirect characterization of Mrs. Luella Bates Washington Jones. Such a great name. Such a great name. Okay, so her words. When I get through with you, sir, you're going to remember Mrs. Luella Bates Washington Jones. What does that tell us about her? Stubborn. Okay. Okay, maybe a little bit mean. What'd you say, Henley? Yeah, she has a great name. Yeah, maybe. Do you think that she lets people push her around?
No.
No. She's trying to scare Roger a little bit, right? Okay, so she might be intimidating. Mm-hmm.
And you're not expecting her to like grab you, like pull you like a block away to your house. So you might find this like boy is like steals the purse, and he might be like some like tough person and like just throws it.
Okay, so we know that she is intimidating. She doesn't let anyone take advantage of her. She's gonna throw down. I want to be Mrs. Luella Bates Washington Jones.
I know.
Intimidating. She doesn't let anyone take advantage of her. Mm-hmm. All right, choices. After the boy attempted to steal her purse, the woman did not turn him in to the police or try to punish him. So even though he did commit a crime against her, she didn't turn him in. What did she do instead? First, she kicked him in the butt, wrestled him around a little bit, asserted her dominance.
She dragged him to her house.
Good. And then what happens when they get to her house? She fed him. What else?
I told him to pick up his face.
Good. Washed his face, got his hair combed.
And then she gave him the money that he wanted.
Yeah, gave him $10 to go get his shoes.
This is mean. I feel like he was lying about that.
Yeah.
I just want to
So we know that she is not, we're going to throw a new word in here, vindictive. Mm-hmm. It's a fun word. Not vindictive or spiteful. So she's not trying to get revenge on Roger. She is compassionate. and she cares deeply about others. So she could have taken him to the police station and turned him in, but because she experienced something similar, she doesn't really go into her history much. She just says like, hey, like I've kind of been in your situation before. I know things are rough. She knows that taking him to the jail or to the cops is not going to do anything good for him, but she can feed him, she can clean him up, and she can give him some money and hopefully change his mind the next time that he thinks about doing something wrong.
Might also have a bad title.
What?
Might have a bad title too, like his parents forced him to like steal.
Maybe. But he tells us that nobody's at his house, right?
That could be a lie though.
Yeah. We don't know. We only know what the author's telling us.
We don't know if the arson.
Okay, are we done with choices?
Yes.
Anybody still working on choices? Okay, actions. She heated some lima beans and ham that she had in the icebox, made cocoa, and set the table. Who does that remind you of? People in your life. Cook, set the table.
My mom and dad.
Okay, so she's very motherly, or in this instance, she's an older lady, so grandmotherly. She enjoys caring for others.
You know that it's supposed to be like this is like the short story of the month.
Yes, this is our short story of the month.
We're gonna be working on it for all month.
Yes.
I feel like we're gonna get it like all done today because of how.
We're not.
Because we've already done 2 pages in the first like 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. You have a little bit of homework though. Okay, flip it over to the back side. We're going to talk about Roger. All right, so Roger's actions. Roger ran up behind the woman and tried to snatch her purse. What does this tell us about Roger?
He's sneaky.
Is he good at it though?
No.
He's not a good thief.
So he's not a good criminal. Why is he trying to steal her purse? Okay, he wants to buy shoes. Does he have anybody at his house to take care of him?
No.
Not that we know of. Okay. So he might be a little troubled. He's out there to fend for himself. They said that our author told us that he looked frail, which means he was very thin, maybe hasn't been fed a ton. So he might be desperate. Yeah, they're being pretty loud. All right, here we go. His thoughts. The boy wanted to say something else other than thank you, ma'am, to Mrs. Luella Bates Washington Jones, but he couldn't do so as he turned at the barren stoop and looked back. So he wanted to say something other than thank you, ma'am. What else do you think he wanted to say to her?
I'm sorry.
Okay, he might want to apologize.
Thank you for the bed.
Okay, he wanted to be appreciative.
Time. Because he was kind to him.
Yeah, he's very thankful for her kindness, isn't he?
I need more money.
Okay. How do you think he feels now that he tried to steal her purse and she was so nice to him? Ashamed, guilty, embarrassed, all good things. So we're going to say appreciative, a little embarrassed, oops,
How I say words, I say it in my head, and then I write it down.
mm-hmm.
But how I say it in my face is different than how you actually pronounce it. So I always spell it right.
Okay,
And it always annoys me. Because
it happens.
spelling it out.
Mm-hmm.
But if you spelled it out, it's not that I'm
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes. All right, so we know that he's appreciative. We know that he's a little bit embarrassed. Now this one, his feelings. He did not trust the woman not to trust him, and he did not want to be mistrusted now. So he wanted Mrs. Jones to trust him. He didn't want to leave any questionable behavior up to guessing, okay? So when she went behind that screen, she had her back turned. He had the opportunity, she was not watching him. He had the opportunity to grab her purse and run out the door. But what did he do instead? Good. He positioned himself so that she could see him if she wanted to. He wanted to make sure that he was being trustworthy. So we know, does that sound like a criminal to you? No. Or does it, let's see, what am I trying to say here? How do you think, is Roger a true criminal where he wants to steal people's things, to be mean, or do you think there are deeper issues going on? Yeah, he has some deeper issues here. So we know that Roger is really a good kid, right? Okay. So we know that he's genuinely good and he wants to please Mrs. Jones. Like he even offers to go to the store for her, right?
I think that's whenever he did that, I feel like whenever Alex started for the first time, I thought he was gonna like, go to the store.
Gotcha.
And he's gonna go and
Like try to get out of it.
Because he's gonna get like $10.
Maybe.
Something.
We adjusted for inflation. Did we talk about this already? We adjusted for inflation, and $10 back then is about $90 today.
Yeah. Well, he just like survived like 50.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be good. But the food gets more expensive.
Yes, it does.
Because it would cost like 5 cents for like local bread.
Let's see. $10.
$10 food.
And,
Probably be more expensive than like Alex.
Okay, so adjusting for inflation, it would be approximately $108.08 today.
What? So he would get like $100.
So she basically gave him $100 and told him to
Go with it.
get after it, be good.
But here's your allowance for the week.
Wowzers. I wish I got $100 allowance for the week.
I don't get an allowance.
That's good. My kids won't get allowance either.
I get allowance.
They get commission.
On you this.
No, commission.
I know.
They get paid for what they do. Like my 3-year-old, he has a job. He has 2 jobs. Throw his dirty clothes in the laundry and bring the trash in from the sidewalk or from the road. And he gets paid for those things.
If I do that, I'll ask.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Did we get these things done in class?
No, we're doing this today.
Okay. Was this our homework?
It will be today.
Okay. I was confused.
Okay.
Kids in second hour were like, yeah, that's a homework. That's a homework. Are you supposed to do it
Well,
right
yeah,
now?
some of them that already have had me.
Yeah.
Right.
I was confused because I was like, we don't have them.
Nope, you're good.
Okay.
All right, good. Let's look at identifying words in text. See that on the next page? Okay, so what you're going to do is look at the definitions that are provided to you. There are 8 of them. Oops, went too far. They give you the part of speech, they give you the definition, and then you're going to read the excerpt below and decide which word in that excerpt matches the definition that they give to you. Okay? It does say circle or highlight. I just want you to use your pencil right now. That way when we check these on Tuesday, when you guys come back, you can erase and mark the correct answers. But let's look here. This one is a verb that means to allow. What's a verb? Christian?
Action word.
Good, action word. Make a note if you need it. So a verb that means to allow. And the excerpt says, after that, the woman said, pick up my pocketbook, boy, and give it here. She still held him, but bent down enough to permit him to stoop and pick up her purse. Then she said, now ain't you ashamed of yourself? Firmly gripped by his shirt front, the boy said, yes'm. What word in that excerpt is a verb that means to allow? Permit. Very good. So circle, underline, put a box around the word permit. It's just one word.
So here's the thing. I'm bad with spell check. It just seems like
You'll be okay, I promise.
I don't like they
Give me just a second.
don't-
Okay, jump down here. We're going to talk about other parts of speech really quick. What's an adjective? Good. Describing word, write that down if you need to. What's a noun? And then on the back, it's all repeated, so we won't have to write them again. Okay, so you have about 10 minutes to work on your homework. You should get done. If you do get done, I want you to work on those grammar minutes in your binder. Okay, yes, go ahead and sharpen your pencil. All right, get after it.